Hello, my name is Brad Bodnerchuk, and welcome to the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast, where we discuss everything hospitality, from the food on the plate to the teams that make it happen and the community that drives this industry forward. On this podcast, we sit down and chat with some of the most exciting, innovative, and creative minds that make up one of the most dynamic industries that there is today. And today, I have the pleasure of being joined by none other than Robert, Bob, if I may, Lindsay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks.
For those of you that are listening to this on iTunes, I implore you to please go check out the video on YouTube and check out the view that we're experiencing right now. It is, I'm going to say blistering hot, or
it's pretty hot for Vancouver.
It's very hot for Vancouver.
Pretty hot for
So we're
Vancouver.
sitting on the patio at one of Bob's restaurant, Lift, here in Vancouver, and overlooking, I'm looking over his right shoulder towards Canada Place, and I see two massive cruise ships and hustling and bustling bay here, which is beautiful. And Robert's looking over my left shoulder to the iconic Stanley Park.
At that girl sitting in the corner there.
There you go. Enjoying her map and hopefully spending a lot of money. Welcome to the show, like I said. And the first question I always start off this show with is the how, the what, the where, the why, and the when, you and food. So everyone I've sat down with has some relationship in one way or another with food. So paint us a picture, take us back as far as you can go, as far as back as you want to go, and fill us into how you got to where you are today and why did you choose food as an alignment and as a career?
Well, that's a 40-year story. We'll try to fit it into a couple of minutes here.
Okay.
But, I first went into the restaurant business in Calgary in 1981. I opened my first restaurant there called Cannery Row, one of the first seafood restaurants in Calgary.
Okay.
We were doing things with seafood that Calgarians had never heard of.
Okay.
If it didn't have a hoof and a horn on it, they didn't know what the heck it was. So,
Right.
So we started there, and we started in seafood.
Okay.
And thought we should probably be on the coast. So in '85, we came out here and opened a restaurant called Monk McQueen's. Ran it for 27 years.
Amazing.
Down in Falls Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Massive restaurant, 650 seats, and yeah,
Huge.
yeah. Never do that again. Never do that again.
But you did it.
Yeah, we did it, and it was a lot of fun. And like I say, we ran it for 27 years. It was pretty successful. And during that time, we went up to Whistler and opened up a couple of restaurants there. Monk's Grill, McQueen's on Blackcomb. Monk's Grill was right on the edge of Blackcomb Mountain, right at the edge of the lift. So huge apres up there. It was just incredibly a lot of fun up there. A lot of fun. Raised my family mostly up there.
Oh, okay.
And our two boys, and we lived up there for 2 or 3 years. And my wife finally said that she was moving back to Vancouver. If I wanted to come, I could.
She twisted your arm.
Twisted my arm a little, yeah.
Yeah.
But great environment up there for the boys to grow up in and learn how to snowboard and ski. And
it's such an iconic place, Whistler. Whether you're local or Canadian or international, you know it and have heard of it. That's something I was thinking as I was walking up here today, and we'll dive more into your history with food. But as I was walking up here today, I was thinking of the properties that you've been involved in and that you've owned. I feel like the geographical locations that you yourself get into are these like iconic postcard spaces. Is that serendipitous? Is that something you set out to do, or just you find yourself with the opportunity to work in Whistler, or you work in Monk McQueen's, which is one of the most gorgeous properties I think in the city, and then here as well? Is it purposeful, or is it just something that happens to you?
Yeah, you know what it is. It's a lot purposeful.
Okay.
Some of it's serendipitous, but it's pretty purposeful. I mean, I went to hotel and restaurant administration school in Toronto at Ryerson, and they drill into your mind, location.
Mm-hmm.
So, the whole restaurant industry really is predicated on that, in my view.
Right.
So, yeah, we've had some pretty spectacular locations.
Yeah.
And how did we get them? That's probably the serendipity of it.
Right. Right place, right time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Our restaurant at the base of Blackcomb Mountain in Whistler was originally designed to be a kiosk takeout coffee shop.
Okay.
And over the course of a couple of years with Blackcomb Mountain, we developed it into an 8,000 square foot restaurant. So
Wow. Amazing.
So yeah.
How did you come to choose Ryerson, and how did you come to choose that program in particular? Was it always something that you were interested in as a young man? Like going back, do you have recollections of like cooking in the kitchen with your parents, or any of those kind of nostalgic stories? Or
Not really. My first job in the restaurant business was in Calgary at a place called Smuggler's Inn.
okay,
And that was in the 70s. That restaurant's still there, still operating.
wow, Smugglers
Prime
Inn.
rib, 3 inches thick. And
Wow.
And I really developed a liking for the industry there.
Okay.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
But you always had $200 in your pocket,
Yes.
and you were always hanging out with really pretty girls. So what
a-
kind of an industry can you do that in?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And then making the shift then to going to school and studying managements to get into now what you're into. I mean, was that your intention when you went to school?
That was
Did you-
my intention. Actually, I was in love with the hotel industry.
Okay.
And I went to Ryerson to get into the hotel industry, and worked a couple of hotels while I was in university, and realized that it probably wasn't for me.
Right.
And I realized that maybe I had a little more of an entrepreneurial lean than
Right.
listening to some guy 30 years my senior tell me how to make a bed or
Right.
when to
Right.
be in, right?
Yeah.
So I quickly decided that maybe I should try to be my own boss. So,
And it's worked out seemingly very well for you.
yeah, it's worked out really well. I'm pretty happy with it. There's certainly times in this business where you wish you were working for someone else, but it's a tough business.
Very tough. It's very
Yeah.
thankless at times. That's something I want to touch on as well, and we can do
Yeah.
it now. Is one, how thankless it is, and two, someone like yourself having been in it for so long, if I can say that, for so long.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, Monk McQueen's itself was a 26, 27-year business, and then you had your business in Calgary as well. Which, how long was
It
it?
was 23 years.
Right, which
Cannery
is-
Row.
Cannery Row, yeah.
18 years up at Whistler with Monk's Grill.
So these numbers are kind of unheard of in this industry.
Oh, unheard of.
So I have a
Yeah.
two-part question, kind of, and feel free to kind of stick to one or the other. But one, how do you do that? So how do you stay relevant over that time? And then two, because it can be such a thankless industry, how do you yourself personally, as Bob the man, not Bob the entrepreneur, not Bob the boss, not Bob the businessman, how do you stay engaged, excited, involved, and wanting to be here when, like I said, it can be a very thankless industry?
Yeah. Thankless in that you're always dealing with the public, and the public is pretty demanding, and
Correct.
And now with all the outlets to critique your business, it's even a little more demanding. But
Right.
but you know what? You have to be a people person. You have to like people, and it's just, for me, it's just become a lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, I eat dinner at 10 o'clock. My wife comes down to the restaurant and joins me, or we go out. But
Right.
to have supper at 7 or 7:30 at night is like, it's uncivilized. And to have supper without drinking bottled wine is uncivilized also.
Okay,
But,
nice.
I seem to be a bit of an anomaly in the restaurant community. I have my wife of 37 years,
Yeah.
and I'm not quite an
Congratulations.
alcoholic. So
You've
two of the things that really destroy you in this business.
Yeah, no, totally. I know. I've spoken with a lot of restaurant owners and head chefs and chefs, and this industry can be very difficult. Not only with speaking of what we were speaking about, like the thankless part of it, but also like the late nights, the exposure to
really
things like
demanding.
alcohol can be really detrimental on your own sanity, but also relationships as well. Like you said, to be able to sit here today and celebrate, 30 years?
44 years.
No, sorry, married,
Oh,
pardon me.
Oh, married?
Yeah.
37.
37 years. I mean,
yeah.
that in itself is amazing outside of this industry, but then to be in this space and have a marriage last that long
Yeah.
is incredible. What do you attribute that to?
Well, the joke in my house is that she's our accountant also. So,
Okay.
so the big joke is we're still together because she knows there's nothing.
So yes, you can't leave and take
She's not-
anything.
She's not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the lifestyle's good. We drink good wine and eat beautiful food all the time, and it's a good lifestyle.
Yeah,
if it's made for you.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so what is your trick over 40 plus years, like you mentioned, in this industry? What is your trick or advice to someone that may be getting a little bit burnt out and maybe having a bit of distaste for this industry?
Yeah, that's a tough one. You know, I've never felt burnt out in this industry, so hard to answer that aspect of it.
Right.
But a lot of it is your family life. You need a good supportive partner,
Right.
And you need to love the business, and you need to love solving new issues on pretty well a daily basis.
Right.
And you gotta love that instant gratification too. You know every night whether it worked or not.
Exactly.
So-
And how do you assess that, whether it worked or not, the service worked or not?
Well, I mean, how smooth did the kitchen go? How smooth, how adept were you at holding your door when you had to?
Right.
You know, how many complaints did you get on service or food issues during that evening?
Right.
How happy were the people you were talking to? I touch 90% of the tables every night that I'm here.
Wow.
So, and that's the fun part of the job, and to have someone say, "Oh, we met the owner."
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were honored. It was so nice of him to come over to the table.
Right.
Well, where I live, that's just part of the business.
Right. And that's part that you enjoy, no?
Yeah, I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
for me too. When
Yeah.
I was working in the space in the front of house, I absolutely loved, and I really got off on. I almost got a high off on that, like interaction. And I love interacting with people. I think it's so fun, and I love food. So to me,
Total
it was a natural fit, and like
Yeah.
you said, complete high. And especially when I know that what not myself, but what the team has orchestrated has brought either excitement or pleasure or relief to someone that came into my space. I took so much from that, and for me, it was a high. Now, do you find
That's why you come back.
that's why I come back? It's like
Yeah.
that golf shot that you hit,
That's right.
right? That one
That's
golf shot keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
Now, when service is done and you sit down and have dinner with your wife at 10 o'clock, what goes through your head besides looking at all the variables of how the night went? Do you come down off of that high? Are you
Well,
exhausted?
I'm usually, good question. I'm usually still in it, and my wife has been sitting at home or reading or watching TV or whatever I don't know what she does at night when I'm gone. But yeah, it's like, honey, get some energy here, get with it.
Oh,
right?
so you come home ready to go.
Oh yeah, I'm all pumped.
And she's saying,
ready to
Bob,
go, and-
please
yeah.
relax.
Yeah, just relax, will you? Just relax. So
Has she ever had any issues with the industry? Again, being the wife and being the partner of a very successful man that has a lot of public demands. Has that ever been a stress in the relationship?
never been a stress in my relationship because I like it so much, and it's so big a part of who I am and what my identity is.
Right.
That and I've always been a pretty outgoing guy. So when we went into the restaurant business, nothing about me really changed.
Right.
So
it was just you being you.
Yeah, it was me being you, and that's I got lucky in that respect. I like it. I'm like you. I get a big kick out of the evening. I get a high off.
You get a buzz off
people,
of it.
a
You
real
do.
good buzz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's addicting.
It's very, very addicting, and you want it. Like I said, it's like that golf shot, right?
That's right.
Going back to when you first started, back in, I think you said 81?
81,
in
yeah.
Calgary.
Yeah.
A lot different then than I'm assuming now to start up and open up a business. But how easy, quote unquote, easy was it for you to go, here's my idea, I want to execute it, and then it's done?
Yeah, a lot easier than now.
And what about it was easier?
Well, money was, I think, a little more available from certain sectors
Like
of
lending
of business,
resources? Yeah.
lending resources.
Yeah.
In Calgary, if you were a lawyer and you weren't involved in a restaurant, you weren't a lawyer. So
You're going to get disbarred.
yeah. So when all the lawyers smarted up, got a little brighter and stopped putting money into restaurants,
Right.
so they could hang around the end of the bar,
Yeah, exactly.
and not see a return, then it got a little more demanding on you to maybe put a pro forma together and go to a bank and sell
Right.
your idea to someone.
So someone now that is a passionate Bob, but of 2018, what advice would you have for them if they have a fantastic idea, a great concept, and the energy and aspirations to go after it? What would you tell them to do? But say they lack the $500,000 they need.
Yeah.
What resources would you kind of point them in the way of?
Well, first I'd tell them if they thought it was $500,000, that's actually $1 million.
Okay.
Because it's never what you think it is.
Right.
And we've been lucky because we've built all our restaurants ourselves. We've handled the construction and
Okay.
hired the people, and it's always a lot more than you think it's going to be.
Right.
And I've had a lot of chefs over the years that have left me and opened their own restaurants, and I help them as much as I can, with pro formas and the money aspect of it, and I tell them all, if you're opening 50, 60, 65, 70 seats,
Yeah.
it's going to be your life.
Yeah.
You're there. If you're open, you're there.
Right.
You don't get a day off. You're the chef. You actually go in and you work every day,
Right.
and you're not going to make $1 million a year.
Right.
So we got. We had the opposite problem. I kept saying, well, man, if we're doing this well in 150 seats, maybe we should open another one. So we got into that trap, and we just kept opening, and one will do well, one won't do so well, and we were lucky enough that they would support each other.
Right.
Yeah, I could have. I don't think anyone admits this, but I could have been out of the restaurant business any given year in that 40 years if
Right.
we didn't have other businesses in the background to support it.
Really.
It's a tough business, and when it's working really well. But when it's not working, you're scrambling, and you're talking to suppliers, and you're making deals with people, and
Right.
you're just taking it forward a day at a time. And anyone in the restaurant business that tells you that hasn't happened to them,
They're lying, or they haven't
They're
got there
lying.
yet, or they're too new.
Yeah.
What-
Usually they're lying.
Yeah, I guess in this industry, perhaps.
Yeah.
So what can, if we can talk about Monks for a second? Definitely an institution here in the city, and again, like we said, it was around for 27 years. Pardon me. What do you attribute to that success to that particular property?
Well, that particular property, that was on a land lease from the city.
Okay.
So there was 8 years gone out of that lease when we found that project,
Oh wow.
because no one in Vancouver would touch it on that side of the creek.
Right.
In that, at the time, was just a rat infested field
Right.
on the water.
Mhm.
But we were a couple of guys from Calgary
Who didn't know any better.
standing on the bank having a beer, going, "What's wrong with this location?"
Right.
So we grabbed it up and started plans, and then people were coming out of the woodwork, right? Oh, we had an option on that. What are you guys doing with it? How did you end up with that and stuff?
Right.
And we're just going, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's been here.
It's been here for 8 years.
Right.
Yeah, as undeveloped foreshore. So
Amazing.
Yeah.
And going back to your
Yeah.
previous point about kind of what I'll call, for lack of a better term, like multiple revenue streams, do you think that's imperative in this industry? Part of me, if you have the capability to set yourself up with that, so almost like a small group of restaurants, if that's in your
yes, yeah.
capabilities.
Yeah, and that's I think when you look around Vancouver, I mean, there's the Cactus Clubs and
The Earls and the Joeys.
the Earls and the Joeys and stuff, and big chains that are supporting each other and doing well. And the story on Cactus Club in the harbor
Harbor,
here,
yeah.
Cole Harbor.
Mhm.
I mean, if you listen to what they say, that restaurant cost $35 million to open.
Right.
Right. So how much did it cost? I don't know, but
What's your guess?
35 million. Yeah, that's a beautiful restaurant. They have a development kitchen in the bottom of that where they do stuff for all the restaurants and
Right.
menu development and things also. So they spent a lot of money on that. But I mean, Jesus, what does it do a day?
Oh, God.
Gigantic.
What would you guess?
Yeah, I would guess 40 to 60 grand
Yeah, I was gonna
in the
say.
summer.
Yeah, I was gonna say 60. So yeah, those of you that are not in Vancouver and are listening from outside of the city, it is take Bob's restaurant here and multiply it by what? How many seats?
5.
Five times,
Yeah.
and then I mean, you could argue it's just it's a different experience and they're a different view. But again, they definitely paid for it. But it is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
But the thing that they don't have is they don't have the owner walking around touching each table at night
No,
and saying
yeah.
hello. And I think that is the key in this industry. And what I really want to help support and fly the flag of is people like yourself who are still going at this after so many years, and you are the independents in the business. And if we can change speeds for a bit and talk about the business as it is today. So how do you how do you describe the industry today, what it is, where it's going?
Well, I think you have to put that in context, and I think the industry is different depending on where you are in it.
Okay.
So Vancouver,
Yeah.
the last 10 years has grown exponentially.
Mhm.
We're a world class resort city.
Right.
People come here from all over the world now, and they come in more and more and bigger droves.
Mhm.
Our cruise ship industry is bigger than it's ever been. It dumps what's the figure,
I don't
32
know.
billion a year or something
Wow.
into the economy. It's huge.
It's a big number.
Yeah, it's huge. So Vancouver is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more tourist driven and head office and meeting driven convention business. Right.
Right.
Convention business keeps us busy all year round. It's
In this property here.
in this property here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If the hotels are full, lift is full.
Cool.
So that's sort of where the industry is going. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of one-ofs in Vancouver, or small 2 and 3 outlet chains that are doing really well. They're 60, 70 seats, but they're opening 3 or 4 or 5 of them.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're making money, and people, we're a fairly big restaurant, but I don't enjoy anymore, and I'm taking nothing away from the big guys.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy sitting in a restaurant with 550 other people having dinner.
No,
right?
me either.
I'd like a little more intimate experience, and that's what you get here on the deck or
Yeah, definitely.
downstairs in the winter. It's warm, it's cozy, it's inviting, and it's under 100 seats.
Yeah. As we're sitting here and listening to Bob talk, I'm watching a sailboat just slowly either enter or exit the harbor here, and just that in itself is so unique. You don't get that in many places in the world.
No, and I mean, we're right by the rowing club here, so you get the scullers coming up and down Cole Harbor all day long.
Beautiful.
The airplanes land Cole Harbor with the harbor air and stuff.
Stunning.
I mean, there's always something moving and something happening in this area. We're right beside the Royal Van Yacht Club, which is some of the nicest boats in the area.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always something happening on the water here, which is where you want to be. If you're visiting Vancouver, you want to go down to the water.
Exactly. What was this before it was lift?
Again, this was a pad. It was a 3,000 square foot pad that sat here for 3 years, and nobody did anything with it.
Really?
And a group bought it and asked us if we would come in and manage it for them, and we said no, but we'll buy the pad from you.
Okay.
But this pad sat here for 3 years. No one in Vancouver was touching
Audacious
it.
enough to
It
go
was
after
weird,
it.
right?
So you
Yeah.
sat on the bank with your buddies and had some
Had a
beers.
beer and said, "What's wrong with this location?" Yeah.
So going back to my question earlier about people that, like, young entrepreneurs are looking to get into the industry, find yourself a bank on the water and a 6-pack of beer with some buddies, and just turn around, and there will be your opportunity.
Yeah. And have a good attitude. Yeah.
And have a good
attitude about it.
Where-
And know that it's all business.
Yes, exactly.
It's not hanging around the end of the bar having a drink with your buddies. It's all business.
How do you manage that? How do you wear the hat of Bob the owner and like Bob the buddy, Bob the friend of your employees? Because I'm sure you want to, like we we're talking earlier before we turn the mics on, how important staff retention is. So building a relationship, building a rapport, making them feel welcome, making them feel like they can be themselves, I'm sure is very important. But how do you go back and forth between, again, I don't want to say being their friend, because at the end of the day, it is business.
Yeah.
But how do you wear both those hats?
You know what? Same guy.
Okay.
Same guy if I'm dealing with the staff, or I'm dealing with the customer base, or I'm dealing with the investors or the bank. I'm the same guy.
Right.
So I don't drink in my establishments. I might have a glass of wine if
Right.
I'm in with the family, but
Right.
No one here wants to see me do that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Nobody. So I'm the same guy whether they see me at 7:00 in the morning or 12:00 in the evening. And I learned a long time ago, it's about how you treat your staff, and because they're everything in this business.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, they're everything. They make it work on any given night, or they don't.
Yeah.
And some nights, if you have to ask an extra 120% about them,
Yeah.
you have to make sure they're there to give it to you. So treat them with respect, and
Right.
you don't have to be their friends, but you can certainly be friendly with them.
Exactly. Do you have any other retention tips? I noticed in the environment right now that we're in, especially in Vancouver, and I'm not sure in other major cities, but I know in Vancouver that staffing is a major issue right now in this city. So what do you have any tips that you have kind of put into practice over the last few years that has allowed for you to hang on to those quality employees that impact your business positively?
Well, we're lucky. I think we're really lucky because we're busy.
Right.
I mean, we do know how to run people, and we do treat them with respect. But we're busy, and our people are making decent money.
Right.
They talk about minimum wage going up in the restaurant industry and what it'll do to your industry, and
Right.
we're gonna have to go to half staff and things will close. But
Right.
I had maybe. I have maybe 3 people on minimum wage. Everybody else makes much more than minimum wage.
Right.
So you pay what you can when you can, and you try to keep them happy.
Right.
But underpaying people in this industry is not the answer.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely
just not. And $15 an hour minimum wage, I'm a big supporter of that.
Right.
I don't think it's going to kill anyone as long as we're all on the same playing field, because we're only selling food and drink, and if everyone's on the same playing field, we're all selling it for the same thing.
Right. Do you feel like that could be an issue? Everyone not being on the same playing field in a couple of years with that increase, or
No, I don't think so. I think we're all there. I mean,
Yeah.
One of my favorite restaurants is a pizza place that does salad and meatballs and
right,
specializes in Italian wine.
right,
We sit at the bar and talk to the guys and
Yeah.
we eat the same thing every time we were there. We have salad,
yeah,
we have the meatballs,
yeah.
and we have the liver on toast.
Oh, okay.
And we have 3 or 4 glasses of wine, and our bill's always $110.
So okay.
So you're in a pizza place.
Yeah,
My guest check average here is about the same, $50 to $60 a head.
right.
So I think we're all in the same game.
Right.
Nobody's any different.
Something that you did mention earlier again, and I wanted to quickly expand on was the environment again being different right now as far as people being able to share their opinions about how you do your business, about how you run your service, about how you plate the halibut, about your cutlery, your glassware, the paint on the walls, all those things. So someone that's been in the industry now for 40 plus years, how do you adapt to that, and how do you digest this new kind of exposure to this customer and client interaction?
Yeah, it's almost like being an actor and working on the stage. They
Right.
say don't read the reviews.
Yeah, exactly. And do you find yourself just avoiding that, or
I try to, but they show up on my feed every day. So
okay,
and again, I mean, we're lucky. 90% of our reviews are great.
right,
The other 10%, well, maybe we're just not what they were looking for,
right,
or maybe they had a preconceived idea of what we should be, and we're not. Or maybe we're just having a bad night and the service was bad.
yeah,
Or they did get a soft piece of fish, or
Right.
things happen. Our whole plan is to try to get to them before it gets carried away and
Right.
take care of that problem.
right.
Right. But we're doing 500 to 700 meals a day.
Wow,
So is everyone going to be happy? Is everything going to be perfect?
yeah,
As perfect as it can be, right?
yeah. My father always says there's a big lineup for perfect. Doesn't
Oh,
actually
huge
exist.
lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you feel like with people's abilities to reach out and give opinions and critique, is that a positive, not just for Lyft, but for the industry as a whole, or is it a negative?
I think it's on the whole, it's pretty positive.
Okay.
I mean, it reinforces for you. Nobody likes to read a bad review, but all of them have some degree of honesty in them.
Right.
There's a theory that goes around the restaurant industry. One guy has a bad meal. If you can get to him
Yeah.
and fix him
Yeah.
before everybody else has a bad meal too, it works a lot better.
What is the art to that?
The art is being in the room and touching the table and making sure, reading the signs, right?
Right.
Reading the signs. So if you got a guy sitting there with a half-eaten piece of fresh halibut,
Yeah.
you either overcooked it or he's not enjoying what he's eating. So
Right. How do you work as a service in regards to interacting with tables? I know for myself, again, being in the front of house and running management, I always looked at each table almost like it was a dance partner, and I would liken it to like, how does this person being this table, whether it's a 4-top, 6-top, whatever it is, how do they want to dance?
Yeah.
And some people want to be like wooed around
Yeah.
the dance floor. Some people want it to be a little more aggressive. So how do you articulate?
That's the art form of the restaurant business,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Being able to read that table and read what they want.
Right.
Are they communicative? Do they want you to tell them a story? Are they getting antsy when you're at the table?
Right.
Do you notice they're not eating their food, but they're not saying anything? So
Right.
yeah, that's an art form. It takes a special personality to be able to discern that and turn it in the right direction if you have to.
And can you coach that? Have you coached that?
Yeah, I don't know if you can coach that or not.
It's innate, you think?
Yeah, I don't know if you can coach it. When I interview management, I mean, I used to do all the interviewing for my restaurants, and I loved it.
Right.
But I didn't have a question list. I just sat and communicated with people. Do you speak restaurant or not? Do you know what you're talking about here?
Right.
What is your favorite wine?
Right.
I have a trick that any manager I hire before that last interview, before I offer him a position, I have dinner with him and his girlfriend or him and his wife.
Right.
Because I want to see how much poise they have with a bottle of wine in them.
Right. Yeah, okay. Great test.
Are you the same guy
with
a couple of glasses of wine as you are when I'm sitting in an interview with you?
Right.
And it keeps it casual, and it gives them a chance to know you a little better and where you're coming from. And it's life's that conversation, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Keep
I like
talking.
that. That's a great. Now we've potentially just forewarned all of your future employees now to get ready.
Get ready. You're having dinner with Bob.
Yeah, having dinner with Bob and somehow stay super sober during your bottles of wine.
Yeah, well, never trust a guy that doesn't drink either, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I go drinking as well, so I don't know what that means about me. But yeah, it's been 2.5 years now. I haven't had anything, but
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A whole other podcast, whole other story. But,
yeah, no kidding.
This podcast is called the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. So I have for you, Bob, 2 questions, and this is completely putting you on the spot. So feel free to cut if you want to cut, but I think you can do this one. 2 questions are: the first one is the half a dozen have-tos. So I need from you 1 to 6. So you can do 3, you can do 1, you can do 4, you can do 6 of Bob Lindsay's have-tos, something you've experienced, something you've eaten, something you've read, a trip you've taken. I know you just came back from Greece, so it doesn't have to be food related. Anything that you've experienced in your life that you think our listeners and viewers have to try or have to do. So Bob's half a dozen have-tos.
Yeah, number 1, don't be an asshole.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Can you put a longer tail on that one?
You know what? Everyone has bad days, and everyone gets stressed out. And I've just found that every time I turn into an asshole,
right,
it doesn't work for me.
Okay.
I'm meeting that person the next day, and I'm having a meeting with them about loaning me money to build another restaurant, or
yeah, exactly.
Or you hang out of your car and give a guy the bird, and he's the guy that has a party of 30 at your restaurant that night, and you got to go say hello to him again. He goes, "Oh, I remember you."
Yeah, exactly.
So it just doesn't work.
Right.
It's never worked for me.
Yeah.
Paramount.
Don't be
number
an asshole.
one for
number
me.
one.
Number one. Yeah.
Do you have any others?
Treat everyone with respect and treat them like they're your friend and you know them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially when you're handling complaints and things. Be open and trustworthy and forthwith, and if you can help them, help them.
Yeah, so important.
Yeah. People still have that thing about restaurants. Oh, I didn't want to say anything.
I know. God, that bothers me so much.
Like, say something.
You know what? It's so
much
funny.
rather fix it.
If I can interject for just a second, being from the East Coast, born and raised in Halifax, we have the stigma attached to us that we're like extremely kind. I mean, we as Canada as a country have that stigma attached to us, and I think it's a great stigma. But there comes a time and a place where It would only serve Bob Lindsay and his staff and his business if I could get up the nerve to say, you know what, I really enjoyed my meal tonight, but there was this issue. And I don't know why we as a society have, we like to sit on our hands so much when it comes to dining out. Like if I'm coming here to lift and I'm spending $150 on a meal, I think you would want to know, would you not, if something wasn't as I expected it to be or as I felt it should be?
Definitely. I mean, and the other heft too is you know what? Learn how to complain properly.
Correct. Yes.
Like, just do it properly.
Paint us a picture what that looks like. So let's say I drop a plate and your steak is undercooked, and I come back to quality check you. Yeah. How do you complain properly?
You tell them, my steak's undercooked. Can you fix that for me? Well, we sure can. Yeah, right. We'll fix it. We'll fix it right away. We'll prioritize it.
Yeah.
But don't start a fight with the waiter. Don't tell the waiter this is the worst restaurant I've ever been in. Or the one I like is, I was at the restaurant down the street last night. It was far better.
Really? Well, then why are you here?
Maybe you should go
back. So I think that's a great point. Yes, let's all get the what's the word? I guess courage to share our opinions, but let's do it in a way that is going to help that person improve on.
Do
their
it respectfully.
Business. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you're at a table and there's 4 people there and one guy is just being that guy, and his friends are apologizing for him. Yeah, he's not complaining correctly. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's not complaining.
God, I hate that when you're dining with people and they're embarrassing. You're just like, God.
Yeah.
Have you never?
They're embarrassing. I have people I won't eat out with because they're embarrassing. They're good friends, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to dine out. They don't know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
They become condescending and argumentative, and that's the last thing we want on a busy night. Just let me fix it.
Any business.
Yeah.
Any relationship. Things go much better if we can speak to people on a level and be like, look, this is just not how I expected it to be. Can we do something about it? And then I almost guarantee you 99.9% of the time that restaurant owner or that waitress or that waiter or that chef is going to bust their ass to get you what they want.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so great about this industry, is that the majority of people in this industry are there to make your experience better.
Yeah. We're people. People.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. Yeah.
We want that. We want the gratification at the end of the night, knowing that it's gone well, right?
And there's incentive as well for you as a business owner, for you as a manager, for you as a server. There's incentive for you to ensure that your customers enjoy themselves. At the end of the night, they're either going to leave you 15, 18, 20%.
Yeah.
The
last one, last one I would suggest is don't think you're too important because you're not.
Oh, right? God, yeah. Do you get a lot of that?
Well, you know what? When you're sitting in my situation, we open big restaurants or larger restaurants in great locations, and we're busy, and that can change sometimes your personality or the way you feel about things. And I always tell my managers and stuff, I mean, just be a good guy. You're not. We don't have to act like we're important.
Yeah, I always say on the show, don't eat the cheese.
Yeah,
which means don't get to let's just get off your high horse a little bit.
That's right.
I think there's so much, not just in the restaurant industry, but in all interactions in society, is being humble goes such a long way.
Yeah.
Celebrate. I think ego is great in certain times and places. Celebrate those wins, but being humble is such an important attribute, I think, especially in this industry.
Totally. Yeah. And you know what? Help your fellow restaurateurs if they have a question or they need some help.
Great point.
Give them a hand. Give them a hand. When I moved here from Calgary, I phoned a prominent restaurateur in town. I won't say his name.
Okay.
I said, listen, we're coming out to Vancouver to open up a restaurant. I'd like to have lunch with you and just pick your brain up, Rick.
Yeah.
He said, no, I don't do that.
Really?
Yeah. He said, I don't do that.
And what was your response?
I just went, oh, you're kidding.
Wow. Did you laugh? Did you laugh first?
Kind of like
it was a joke?
I went, no, you're kidding. You're kidding.
And
you won't talk to me about the restaurant business in Vancouver. No, you're a competitor. Right?
That's something that's come up on this show multiple times, and I think it's so intriguing, is that this industry can at times operate in silos, and I think that is such a negative thing about this industry. I'm seeing it change. I am seeing it change. Like
Yeah,
the
I
other
hope
day,
so.
the other day I was down to Granville Island, and I was lucky enough to enjoy the menu at Popina. I don't know if you've seen it or heard of it, but it is the collaboration business restaurant of four prominent chefs in the city. And I don't know of that ever happening before. And not to throw
No,
chefs under a bus,
yeah.
but they can all have pretty big egos. So having four chefs come together and agree on one, a concept, two, on the color of the paint of the wall, and then three, a menu is just amazing to me. But going back to your point originally, like, I don't know what that is about this industry, and maybe you can elaborate a bit, but why is it that there seems to be silos? And if I have a great general contractor, I don't want to share it with you because I want it from the next. Like, what is it about this space that kind of breeds those silos? Why?
I don't know. You know what? I've never been that way, and so I can't answer that question.
Right.
I've had so many chefs and managers quit and open up their own restaurants, and I'll even go to the bank with them to make the presentation.
Right.
Because it's good. It's good for the industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know in my exposure in restaurants there can be a lot of kind of ownership when it comes to your team and your staff, and I've witnessed people that have gone on to do other things, and then the owner or the general manager is, like, if I can say, pardon my language, but shitting on them and their idea.
Yeah.
I'm just like, isn't I would be proud.
Why would you do that?
I would be proud if I was the owner and operator of Lyft and I had a junior chef come in here and he worked for me for 24 months or whatever it is, and all of a sudden he had the inspiration and the gall to go out and do his own thing. Like, I applaud that. I think that's so beautiful.
Oh, me too. Me too. I mean, I've had, just in Lyft alone, and it's 12 years old, I've had 3 chefs leave me and open up their own restaurants, and
Right.
and I helped them. I was so happy for them.
Exactly.
You know, for them to make that jump, because that's from wanting to open up your restaurant to to opening up your own restaurant.
Yeah.
The leap is phenomenal.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you have no idea conceptual to opening what that leap is.
Yeah.
It's,
Big
it's
gap.
absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're a bit of an anomaly in this space? You as a person?
I don't think so. I know a lot of really cool restaurateurs in town.
Yeah.
Nice guys. They're not yellers.
Right.
They treat people with respect.
Right.
You know, they help people. Yeah, I know a lot of. Well, I mean, I don't hang around with the other guys. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I know so many. But it's fun.
And it should be fun.
Yeah, you go out for dinner, and you're recognized, and they treat you well, and
Right.
it's a good thing. It's a nice lifestyle.
Can we for a second highlight a have-to restaurant on the show that you've been to that you think deserves a little shout out here? So that maybe the meatballs and the
Hey, you bet. My favorite, Nook.
oh, okay, Nook.
Yeah.
The
guys,
Denman location or the
both of them. I go to both of
Okay.
them. I really like the Kits location.
Okay.
They just opened up another one over in Kits called Odd Fish.
Okay.
Probably some of the most creative, best seafood I've eaten.
Oh, wow.
Small room.
Says a lot coming from you.
Yeah. Small room, good guys. Everybody knows about their wine list. They can all talk to you about it.
Nice.
They can suggest things. And great little, cute little, well done rooms.
For those that aren't local, how would you describe Nook to a passerby as far as theme, concept?
Well, you know what? They're a little different. The Nook, the downtown Nook, is a little smaller.
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about the bar. I know, you talk to the guys at the bar. You sit at the bar.
Yeah, the best seat.
Yeah. You converse with them. I mean, I've never ordered a specific wine there. I've always said, I'd like to drink this tonight.
Right.
This style of wine. What do you have for me?
Yeah.
Funny, it's always $16 or $18. That's not a $10 glass of wine.
Funny how that works out, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which contributes to that $120 bill. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But would you call them more like an Italian fare? Would you call them Italian casual?
Yeah, you know what? They're, for all intents and purposes, they're a pizza restaurant.
Right.
That have 3 or 4 pasta dishes that are really well done on the menu, and two or three appies.
Right.
Burrata and prosciutto. I mean,
Yeah. Classics. Can't really mess them up.
No.
Yeah.
No. So
So get down
Yeah.
to Nook if you're local. Make sure you
Yeah.
get down to Nook.
I
But
love
first,
it.
but
Don't
first, come
mind
to
pushing
Lyft.
those guys.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you know what I'll ask of you is maybe after this or via email, I'll get you to introduce me to those guys because I have never, I've never met the owners and operators of
Oh,
Nook. So I'd
yeah.
love to get them on the
Yeah.
show as well.
Yeah, good
Um,
guys. Good
yeah?
guys. Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
really good guys.
The second question I have for you, and I know time is getting tight here. You're a very busy man, and I do appreciate it. But the second one I have for you is the half a dozen haven't yet. So same concept, 1 to 6 haven't yet. Things you haven't done, almost like a bucket list, if you will. So 1 to 6 things
In
that-
the business.
No, it doesn't have
No.
to be. It can be just in your life. It can be you haven't bungee jumped yet. You haven't jumped out of a plane yet. You haven't eaten, I don't know. You haven't eaten sardines in Italy. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, number one, I'd like to learn how to take more time off more gracefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure your wife would appreciate that too.
Yeah, yeah, she does. She does. I am learning. I'm learning how to do that. And,
Okay.
and relax a bit.
Yeah.
But I'd like to. My wife doesn't want to hear this. I'd like to open up a couple of other restaurants. I have a couple of concepts in mind that
Okay.
I think Vancouver is missing, or that I've seen in other countries that I think are really
Right.
cool.
That's exciting.
You know? Yeah, I like that. I like that concept where small restaurant, 40 to 60 seats, attached to a gourmet grocery store.
Yes.
You can buy
Yeah, very
great
cool.
olive oils,
Yeah.
and great spices, and cool stuff
Yeah.
that they use here, right?
Right.
I mean,
Use it in the space.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, my other favorite restaurant in town is Ask Luigi.
Oh, beautiful space.
Yeah, yeah. Just feels so good in there.
And
now
it feels-
that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, and it feels very authentic as well.
Yeah, yeah, very authentic, and
Yeah.
I think Vancouver can use more of those.
Yeah, and they don't have to be 650 seats, Bob. Remember that,
No,
right?
they don't. That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
Any other haven't yets? I know, like you said, before we turned the mics on, you were just in Greece. So any other travel destinations that you feel like you just got to get to?
Yeah, you know what? I travel quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll talk about Greece, because up until I went to Greece, from a food aspect,
Right.
probably Italy was my favorite.
Yeah, for
But
most people.
I would put the food I had in Greece last week
Wow,
up there also.
amazing.
Never had a bad meal.
Wow,
Never
that
had
says
a
a
bad
lot.
meal. Yeah,
And that's over 2 weeks.
that's over 2 weeks. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Did not have a bad meal.
Now-
And it's really hard to spend $100.
Yeah, you were saying it's very
Yeah.
economical.
Yeah, it's cheap.
That's great.
Jug wine. You know, biggest thing I learned in my life is when you're traveling,
Yeah.
drink the house wine.
Yes, drink the house
Drink
for
the
sure.
house wine, man.
Yeah,
Like, what do you want to spend $85 on a bottle of French wine when you're in Italy?
exactly. Drink
know?
and
Yeah.
it's going to be probably a lot
Yeah.
more superior.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
So any
wonderful.
other destinations that now that you've been to Greece? Obviously, I know I mentioned again before the mics came on that you would like to go back to Greece again. So that's definitely
Yeah,
on
I'd
your
go
list.
back to Greece. I'd go back to Italy again.
Anywhere you
I'm not
haven't?
much
Anywhere you
of an-
haven't been?
Not really. I've been all over the Orient, and
Okay.
years ago. So
Yeah.
I'd like to go back there. I'm a water guy.
Okay. Yeah.
So there has to be water.
Yeah.
You know, there just has to be a beach, and there has to be an ocean.
Right.
So, but no, just keeping healthy enough to
Keep
be
doing
able
this.
to do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
The last kind of formal question I have for you was just that the fact that Monk McQueen's water, lift, water. Again, is this just serendipitous, or is this something that you are looking at? Like you're like, I want to be on the water.
In Vancouver, we want to be on the water.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
In Whistler, we wanted to be on the ski hill.
Makes sense.
So we were.
So if 5 years from now, these concepts that you have brewing in your brain, all I have to do is find that empty bank somewhere,
Always looking.
and
Always
an empty
looking.
bottle of beer,
Yeah.
and I'll know that Bob has been there.
Exactly.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I want to take a second before we wrap up to thank you so much again for your time. I really do appreciate it. I feel like you're an anomaly in this business. Only in that the way you carry yourself and your attitude is very refreshing. So thank you so much for doing what you do and staying the course and doing it for 40 plus years. And thank you for supplying this city and the people with quality product and caring so much about what you do. And again, thank you for making time for me in this project. I really do appreciate it. And
Great.
lastly, if people want to support you and your team and your tribe, how can they best do that? And how can they best get in touch with all of the businesses that you have going on at the moment?
You know what? Just come on down. I mean, I only have one restaurant
Yep.
left. It's Lift. It's on the water, and probably the best job we've ever done. It's 40 years of accumulated
Exactly.
knowledge
Yeah.
and 40 years of successes and failures.
Yeah.
And come on down, and say hello. I'm here. I'm here 5 nights a week.
Yeah. Till 10 o'clock or later.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Or 10 o'clock or earlier.
10 o'clock or earlier, I should say. Yeah.
I'm in bed a lot at 10:30.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Again, thank you, Bob, so much. Really do appreciate you inviting me into your space and making time for me.
Appreciate it.
Any last words of wisdom for those that are looking to get into the industry that might have some, issues and a little bit fear dealt with it or fear inside of them?
You know what? I would say love it.
Yeah,
It's not just a business. It's a lifestyle.
definitely.
And if you need someone to talk to about it or you want an opinion, feel free to give me a call.
Right.
I'll never tell you we don't do that.
That's a perfect way to end it. Thank you so much, Bob. I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching and listening. As always, be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode of the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. Until then, be good and do good. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. Yeah.